I'm here today with Lori and Greg Dixon. Lori has lived with ulcerative colitis. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your likes, dislikes, what it is you do for a living, age, those sort of things? Anything you're willing to share?
I'm 48 years old, and I like to go shopping, read, and go to Bible study. And I work in the Public Information Office at Johnston County Board of Education.
All right. Um, could you share with us when the onset of ulcerative colitis took place, when you were diagnosed, or when you first saw symptoms?
Well, first of all, they found out my younger brother, had ulcerative colitis first. Well, I started having some problems, and I didn't tell anyone until later. And then I went to the doctor, and they did not right off diagnose me with ulcerative colitis. It was proctitis, but then it went into my large intestine. So then they said it was ulcerative colitis.
Okay. And from there, did you have any surgeries? How did this impact your life?
Well, I was in and out of the hospital. 1 year I was in the hospital 7 times. 1 month they fed me through my nose to give my stomach and everything a rest, my large intestine, from digesting food. They fed me through my nose for almost 30 days. And then after so many times in the hospital, um, finally I got down to like 72 pounds. And I was not doing well at all. And my mother told the doctor, she said, "You've got to do something. She's dying." Well, anyway, the doctor, he said, "Don't let her hear you say that." Well, I knew that I had to have some help. So we found out about a doctor in Chapel Hill, and we went to Chapel Hill.
And I may not have mentioned, but this is my aunt and uncle, and at the time they were dating. This was back in 91.
It was really in 1988, 89.
Having watched this, how did this impact your life, and what did you see change in hers?
Well, I guess it was a rapid loss of weight was one thing, and she was becoming very anemic and shaky, unstable, like one would be when they've lost a lot of weight quickly.
Socially, how did this affect the either of you can answer these questions?
Well, it was kind of embarrassing because when we would go on a date, I would have to go to the bathroom, and I could not wait. I mean, we would be anywhere, and he would have to fly to find a bathroom. And it was kind of embarrassing.
Right. I can imagine. How did you cope with this, and what were some family reactions? What were your emotional reactions to having lost all this weight and being so sickly for so long?
I just felt really bad and embarrassed too, because I was having to take a lot of prednisone, and I was swelling, and you know how your face would be real round shaped. It was embarrassing, especially dating.
Prednisone did. I mean, a lot of people would say, "Oh, you're looking good. You're putting on weight," or whatever like that. But the only reason she's putting on weight was because of the prednisone. Mm-hmm. That does make you gain weight, and you hold fluid, retain fluid, whatever high dosages that she was on.
I was very embarrassed because it made you have facial hair too. I had a mustache. It was just really embarrassing.
Right, and you did live for a certain amount of time with a colostomy bag. How was that?
Well, when they gave me surgery and they decided that I had to have the bag, they would ask me questions, psychological questions, just in case the treatment did not work and I would have to keep the bag. It was kind of tough, and I kept dehydrating. So I didn't keep the bag as long as they had told me at one time. I was fortunate enough that they could remove the bag and take it down, and because they called it a J pouch.
All right. So your toileting, eating, social life were all impacted. Did you find that you weren't able to do the things that you typically were able to do before? And what was that like?
Um, I kept trying to work because the hospital bills but it was just really hard because I didn't have energy. I just didn't feel good. I was passing blood, mucus. I was just really in a lot of pain.
Did your employer work with you with that, or did you have trouble with that?
They did up till the last surgery that I had, and they told me if I didn't get back, I might not have a job, which I was not out that much time after my second surgery where they took the bag down. I was out probably 4 weeks, which I was supposed to be out 6 weeks, but I went back early.
In order to keep your job?
To keep my job.
That must have been tough. So what would you say were some adaptations that worked for you at the time, and what has worked for you now to be able to live with this?
I had to learn to eat differently. No seeds, nothing that is hard to digest. It's just kind of hard for that.
Okay. Having been in a relationship at the time, how did it impact the two of you, do you feel? And you can answer this if you want. You feel that you became closer, stronger?
Well, we probably did become closer. Because I realized that she had to have help, and actually, even when she had the colostomy bag, she wasn't. Her mother could not help her, and I had to help her with that. We changed it. I had to change it for her and clean it and all that kind of good stuff.
It's not a good thing to see.
Right.
Something that you can't see because her brother couldn't either. Brad, when he had the same surgery, he couldn't even look at his ostomy. She could, but
I could look at it, but it was so hard. It would get heavy, and it wouldn't stay on me. It would come off. I would try to work with it, and it would sometimes come off, and I'd have to go home and change clothes.
Can you tell me, since the surgeries, what has happened, what has been affected? I do know that you had a large part of your large intestine removed, and that seemed to correct most of your issues, but could you tell me a little about that?
I had my complete large intestine removed, but just a little bit was left to attach to the small intestine when they removed the bag, so I could go back to the bathroom like normal.
And now you are just eating different. Do you still have any kind of effects from this disorder, and is it leading into anything new?
Yes, it's painful at times. They're saying that it's a possibility it's going up higher into my small intestine. I have bloody stools now. I have feelings like some places like what did I tell you? It's like abscesses, and it's painful. But
at the time that they did the surgery, this was supposed to be the cure for ulcerative colitis, but they found out there is not a cure. They don't have a cure yet. It was not a cure. It was something
temporary.
They thought it was going to cure it. They were stopping it from removing the large intestine would take care of the problem, but it hasn't.
And now I do know that Crohn's has come up in discussion as far as there may be a diagnosis for that.
There's no cure for Crohn's either.
That was a misdiagnosis, basically. It was one doctor she was going to. The physician's assistant mistakenly thought that she kind of was in the circle, where you had Crohn's here and ulcerative colitis here, and you kind of meet in the middle. But then the
They don't
doctor,
know.
he said that it wasn't. It was just ulcerative colitis. So
Okay, so it was still side
and
effects
the, and
from
the
that.
similar diseases are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So that sometimes you get a wrong diagnosis.
Well, having lived with this, do you feel like you have lived a full life, or do you feel like you're still very much detained by the effects of the disorder?
At times, I feel, that I'm still being affected really bad. And, I have blockages sometimes. It's very painful.